Hello, everyone. I'm Mariela. Today, I will be speaking about the business steps when there is a M&A deal. And let me share my screen with the presentation so that we can start. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. So I will take a look on the steps before and after those deals become real. Let me see why. Okay. So what I do and why I would be speaking today about this is because I'm 7 years in the company, 7 years and a half, and I was in the process of due diligence for the deal of Imperia Online from the very beginning when we thought about the idea of becoming part of Steelfront Group. I'm leading the marketing and business development team. I started it when it was in 2013, and since then I went to many conferences. Right now, all conferences are online, but I also was a speaker at many events with no sponsored lectures. But this is the first time that I talk about the actual deal. So I think it will be interesting because there's so many deals nowadays about merger and acquisitions that probably you would think about what are the steps and how these people are doing this. So 15 years on the market, our company is the biggest Bulgarian game studio. And there are 15 companies part of Steelfront Group. Actually, there's some news from yesterday, so we're 16. And we have more than 50 million players. We're on many platforms with our game Imperia Online. And we've done a lot on the business development side uh, when you actually start looking into our company, you will see that. You will see also the awards that we won, and I will mention them because they're quite important in terms of the financial results that we achieved during the years before the deal happened, because we achieved fourth place on revenue growth of almost 500% and a Rising Star Award from Deloitte. Then in 2015, another award from them for the revenue growth of almost 600%. And of course, we have some other from awards from game conferences from Forbes Bulgaria for business development, client policy, and human resources, which also gives more overview of why the company is a quite nice studio, and there were buyers looking into us through the years. This is the game online that you've probably seen on the web because we started with the web browser version. Then 10 years ago, we did the mobile version of the game, and it's quite popular with the 7th version right now. Nothing to do with the one that we had in 2005. Localized in 30 languages, and actually there are different versions for the Arabic speaking countries, for the Russian speaking markets. We have extremely loyal users from Russia, Brazil, Southeastern Europe. And yeah, that's how we impressed the buyers. Let's go through the steps before and after. First, the before. The M&A deals have two perspectives, and the first one is how those buyers, if you're looking from their point of view, are actually deciding what they want, what studio to achieve next. And there are different criteria that they're looking at. The first one is growth. If they want to grow fast, if they want to grow, I mean, in terms of people, in terms of a huge company that will, of course, cost more, or they want just smaller studios to be acquired slowly. They would be also looking in new markets if they want to enter new markets through acquiring a new company. The acquisition will also be related to new users and new technology. That would be the things they would be looking at. And from our point of view, it's quite different. I mean, the studios always have to have unique technology. Probably you remember the deal when Snapchat bought Luxury, um, the animated selfie filters. Then Facebook did quite the same. They bought the Masquerade application, which was with almost the same kind of filters to your images, but it was concentrated more on videos. So there was again unique technology, but the companies didn't know exactly how to launch it in terms of marketing and how to make those apps popular without the buyers. So another possible criteria for you why to look for buyers is probably you want to cash out or you want to survive. But that's not the best scenario for you because from what we've seen and the other studios deals into our group, because we're, like I mentioned, 15 companies, it was always the case that we wanted to grow. This was also our case, not just by giving small percentages to many publishers and many companies that are asking, but to give the whole company to a bigger group than ours, which has know-how. And how we did that, we first tried with a broker, but it was lost of time. Really, the commission was around 10%. They didn't even understand what we're looking for. And when we had meetings with those brokers and the possible buyers from their side, um, there was even the meeting couldn't start because there was no match between what they were looking for and what we expected. So I don't recommend this option. Better is to work with an investment banker who is more professional, like in our case at Nitio Capital. And Shum, their founder, was extremely helpful. We went through this whole list of pros and cons and why we want or we don't want a deal. So the cons for us were that we will lose control of our company, that will work for someone else. But the pros were many, and he actually described many of those because first the independence on the product lines, the designs was very crucial. Like I mentioned, we wanted to grow, but we didn't know how. We wanted to share contacts and know-how with a bigger company that's in our business doing free-to-play MMO games. We wanted to win big volumes, to combine efforts with other companies that know what our users want. And I think that our game is extremely niche. That's why it was really hard to find a buyer. At some point, it was like mission impossible. And of course, we wanted the financial support so that we can scale fast. How we prepared for this deal, it was very difficult. So you need to think of the confidentiality inside the company. This means that all of the employees will freak out if they understand, they know that you want to sell the company, because first they would feel very negative about it. Uh, because they don't know who is the buyer. And after that, you have to spend lots of time with the HR on explaining this. But at first, you have to be very confidential, even not to mention it to your family, your husband, wife, and so on. You need to identify the key people in your company, and this happens if faster if you imagine that you will fire all of your employees, and who will be the one that you leave in the company is the key person that you want to stay, and the one you want to actually invite to be a shareholder. Why I'm saying this, because in Eastern Europe there is this kind of trend that there is one or two co-founders that are the only shareholders, and we need to go a little bit further in this thinking that's not the best strategy in terms of finance, and we need to give the power to more shareholders, and that's what we did. Now there are 9 shareholders in our company, and they're exactly those key and senior people, um, leading teams and being part of the company almost from the beginning. The accounting should be in order. No personal accounts, no cars, apartments, and whatever you have. Or even there's some developers that think that's okay to use for experiments Apple and Google accounts that are not company accounts, and to just try and publish the game from there. But if it's a success, they don't want to lose the viral traffic. They don't even move the app into the company account, which is a big mistake. Legal should be in order. You have to check all the contracts and make sure that there are not any clause or term that's changing if your company is acquired. If that's the case, then you need to go and sign uh, annexes to those contracts so that you can make sure that all of your revenue share or other licensing deals will be safe after the deal and you won't lose money. You have to find a lawyer. In our case, it was best to find a local lawyer in Sweden who knows best the buyer. And it turned out that he was very expensive, but it saved us lots of time. Go and meet the buyer. On those meetings, you don't need to do anything else except for be nice, smiling. The other job will be done from your banker. He will be negotiating, and after that, he will be negotiating with you, and there will be some tough times, but they're used to that. Even if you're yelling at your banker or broker, they know that's their job. So yeah, that's the 8th point actually. The negotiations, the letter of intent, it's quite important because you need to lock some terms. No other buyers should be able to talk to you after this letter of intent. And check all the accounting principles that this company is using. With us, it was there are some tricky moments with the revenue and how we understand net revenue, gross revenue from our accounting in Bulgaria uh, and the one that's in Sweden. Due diligence, like I mentioned, I was there from the start. It's a painful process with lots of scanning of documents. You need to scan thousands of pages of employee contracts, business contracts, financial reports. All of the bank accounts should be presented. You better have just in one bank, really, all of the cash flows, trademarks, and assets. This is also quite important. If you don't have you haven't saved your trademark, that's maybe a good point to start thinking about it and see how it is in your country. But with us, the trademark, when it's registered, it's free, so that's good. And we had just to present it. Internal policies should be presented. Here we had also a small difficulty because they were all in Bulgarian. So we had to translate those policies. Leases and debt should be all presented as well. What you will get out of this? those deals. If the case was cash only, then you have the cash only. But is that the best case scenario? Like I already mentioned it, for us, it was not. We thought, let's have some cash, but let's have also shares. Because shares could go up, and if you don't have any shares, then after that you would be devastated when you see them go up. Normally after a deal they will go up. So yeah, better have an upfront payment plus earn out, all of the above points. The best results, deadlock. It was not our best year, 2018, when the deal became real, but the previous and the more previous years were really great for us. So you have to find this sweet spot when you don't lose the momentum of, yeah, you should be sure that this was your momentum, the best years, and really start looking into buyers when those moments are happening, because the process is long. Like you can see how many documents and relationships are engaged, so it won't happen just for a day or a month. Contracts with the platforms are crucial because they will want you to be like almost a public company before you become a public company, so that everything is really clear. We have an affiliate system with many websites that are our affiliates, but it was all clear from the very beginning. We had contracts with those small websites, and it was not a pain in the ass for us, but it might be for you if you don't have contracts with all the portals that you have your games on. And all the publishers changed the rules. This is something that you will have a little bit more leverage if you're part of a bigger group, because they will inform you faster. You will be able to use one lawyer or one person that's expert in GDPR and many other policies when rules are changed, so that all of the 15 companies act accordingly and in timely manner. It's a personal choice, really, but we focused on European buyers, like I mentioned, because for us the culture is quite important of the buyer. Also, the time zone was really better for us, and the currency, our currency, Bulgarian leva, is pegged to euro, so there were no deviations or something to worry about on the financial side. What happens with the anxiety around the deal inside the company is, and outside the company, is that you need to start thinking about the HR previously. I mean, even if when you're super confidential with your employees and they don't know about the deal, you have to actually start investing slowly in HR and to prepare them, just with different kind of trainings, or even just hiring more HRs that will handle the situation, and you should be sure about it. The You should be looking at this deal as an opportunity for new sales to happen in the organization. But of course, after the deal happens, you have to talk with your biz devs about this and how you can actually get advantage of the situation. There's lots of dynamics because of the huge risks involved in these deals. Some of the some of them are related to the cultural differences, of course. Um, the focus should be on the similarities. We did lots of investigation in our BizDev team on the Hofstede model. You've probably heard about it, and when you look into Bulgaria, you will see that we are more masculine oriented. When you look into Sweden, they are individualistic. And there are quite some differences, but when you look into the long-term perspective of Hofstede, which is related to if they actually care about their culture, the past of their culture, to save the old habits of their whole community. They really care about this like we do. So they're very mutual features between us. Of course, lots of differences, like I mentioned, but you have to look into the similarities to find the common ground. And of course, after that, there will be some communications differences between the companies that are inside, because there are some studios, sister companies that are from the Arabic speaking countries, others from the States, and so on. So it's quite a mess if you have deals with them like we do, and I will go into that part in a sec. The three things that you should be looking at and focus on are the people, like I mentioned, talent, technology. After the deal happens, if you can exchange quickly know-how and intangibles, the intellectual property, and how um, to make sure it's all safe. After the deal, what happens after the deal is that our biz devs were looking into all the possible synergies. Like we were thinking, hey, they have a game portal, we can add our game there. We can ask them if they have enough community managers, because our games are translated in 30 languages. They can translate easily other games and support them, because we're quite experienced in this. And it's even cheaper in Bulgaria, of course, than to support it in the States, for example. We were eager to cooperate in all kinds of ways, with the famous IPs, with co-production deals, or if they were looking even for publishing, we were ready to help with that as well. So, how to find those synergies in your new company? It's quite different story, I think, for every company, but you actually have to explore the studio's needs, your studio's needs, to exchange contacts, the one that are you were so many years looking into. For us, there were the Apple, Google contacts we needed, because we were always related to the Russian-speaking account managers in Apple and Google, which is not exactly helping us to gain more users from Western Europe. And now there's lots of help in that direction. Also, new portals that all of the companies share, that they're already there. Um, and we invested in an intranet system where we share all documents, contact details of all the studio members. The communication is easier this way, and we have monthly meetings, uh, team by team. For example, BizDevs have monthly meeting, PR have monthly meeting, user acquisition another, tech guys another, and so on. So here's an example. Actually, on the left side, this is Imperia Online integrated in Kickside.com, one of the Canadian studios from the Steelfront group. This deal happened so quickly. We integrated for a few days, fully, like with a single sign-on and payments of Kickside that they were using, and it's a quite nice user base from the American market. Here is a co-production that we did with Babel Studios. They had a concept, an idea about a mobile card game, especially for the MENA region. It's like Belot, but it's with a little bit different rules. So we followed their whole concept and idea, and we just did the development in 5 months. And now there are even ongoing live ops by our company for their game. There's a dedicated team in our house for this game. Another project that we did is the Siege World War, the second game. Here it's a little bit different because the development was done by Simotronics, the American sister company, but from the beginning of this year, we started doing publishing and live ops for the game. So we are doing everything about the game, right? Marketing, monetization, all the new in-game events, promotions, tournaments on the iOS and Android platforms. So it's quite successful, and we were actually proclaimed the Center of Excellence for Live Operations of Steelfront Group, and we expect that there would be more games coming to Imperia Online to be handled in terms of live ops. So yeah, that were some of the examples. There are even more like affiliate deals, small ones, or helping other studios with dev guys, all kinds of exchanging know-how. And for me personally, it was really uh, professionally very giving me know-how in terms of biz dev, in terms of contacts, and how the big guys are doing it from Germany and so on. So it was quite nice to become part of Steelfront. I have only positive feedback. These are my contact details if you want to receive the presentation or to ask me anything. And that's what's me today.
Hello, Mariela.
Hi.
Great to have you here, and thanks for the presentation. So, a couple of questions for you from the audience. So, and the first one is actually a question that was asked by 3 different people. So, what are the advantages of M&A versus IPOs? And let me make a follow-up. Have you considered an IPO scenario before the acquisition?
Thank you for this question. Actually, yeah, I spent some time investigating this topic as well. And there were some studios not only related to game creators, game developers here in Sofia, but also working with trading platforms, with casino games that had a couple of successful IPOs, and I consulted them, I consulted their lawyers. And what I saw is that probably this is a good idea and more risk-free deal for that kind of trading platforms of more casino-related games, but not for us, or at least that's how we felt, that it's too risky for us, that we are not the guys that will risk that much. Perhaps the creators of that kind of platforms are okay with all the rules of the IPOs, and also it required lots of different certificates that we didn't have at the time, and yeah, we just didn't see it happen. We were looking for know-how. We were looking for bigger group of studios like Steelfront, where there are other game creators like us that will help us go to the next level. And with a simple IPO, I didn't see it happening.
Okay, so it's a matter of whether you need simply funding or a partner to help out with various things. Okay.
Yeah.
And another question, when is it a good time for a studio to start considering a merger or acquisition? Should they first hit a certain revenue profile, or when exactly should studios start asking themselves this question?
Well, there are different kind of buyers, and of course, there are the ones that are looking for smaller companies and will be interested in indies that don't have more than $5 million revenue per year. But of course, there are the ones that are looking into not only unique technology, but into let's say bigger indie, which is not exactly indie anymore because it's more years on the market, but they want to see a team that's already working and consistent, and that's why they prefer that kind of bigger deals, which are probably more risky in terms of on the financial side. But I can definitely say, like in the presentation, that you should be sure that you have your peak, and when you have that peak of the games and revenue that you have, then to start considering this option and to start searching while you have that peak, not waiting a long while after that, and you see how you're declining in revenues and you don't do nothing about it. This would be a mistake.
All right. Mariela, thanks a lot for the presentation once again, and for the live answers. So, hope you stick around to interact with the developers, and I hope you have a good rest of the event.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a great experience so far, and the Pine platform is great with many contacts. So yeah, great organization.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Bye.